In London, we have 270 nationalities and 300 languages. And if we are living in a global village, we need to know about our fellow villagers. So today, this integration dinner has been organized so that we could know about our fellow villagers. The organization which is hosting tonight's dinner is World Congress of Overseas Pakistanis, which is a representative organization for overseas Pakistanis, more than 8 million overseas Pakistanis in 144 countries. And ladies and gentlemen, could I ask you to give them a standing ovation? May I invite Sajjad Karim, MEP, Chairman of World Congress of Overseas Pakistanis. Could I request for a standing ovation, please? And if you can rise from your seats to welcome Honorable Sajjad Karim, MEP, the Chairman of World Congress of Overseas Pakistanis. We are lucky third time. Mr. Sajjad Karim is 3 times elected member of the European Parliament for North West England. He's also the first British Muslim elected to the European Parliament. He's chairman of the European Parliament Friends of Pakistan Group. He's also vice president of the European Parliament's Equality and Diversity Intergroup. Mr. Sajjad Karim is chairman of the South Asia Monitoring Group in the European Parliament International Trade Committee. And apart from that, he's chairman of this organization, and I talked about the dream. The dream which is going to inspire not only 1.2, 1.3 million Pakistanis in the UK, but more than 8 million overseas Pakistanis in 144 countries. So all of us, we're going to put up a warm welcome to the chairman of the organization for his vote of thanks, his final speech. Let's put a warm welcome. Please, standing ovation are requested.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. High Commissioner, fellow parliamentarians, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and assalamu alaikum. Well, actually, after that introduction, I'm quite looking forward to hearing what I've got to say. But I've learned a few lessons in politics, and one of those lessons is that you should never stand in between an audience and their evening dinner for too long, because it can become quite dangerous. And I'm going to live by that rule today. It really is a tremendous pleasure for me to be able to be present here today as chairman of the Board of Governors of the World Congress of Overseas Pakistanis, a voice for over 8 million people across the globe. And it is befitting that I should make this inaugural address here in the United Kingdom, the country which by far has the deepest links with Pakistan. And quite naturally, as a dual British and Pakistani national, I clearly have an interest, an unashamed interest, in deepening these ties even further. When it comes to British Pakistanis, the phrase that best describes them for me is hard work. No, Simon, I don't mean we are hard work, although some of us can be, and I know you know I certainly can be from time to time. But it's that willingness never to shy away from making a contribution to which I refer. And I'm often reminded, when I look at that, of my very best friend who secured his first job after graduating. He was so pleased, he went running immediately to tell his parents. His father's reaction, "So what hours will you be working, beta?" My friend replied, "Daddy, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday." His father retorted, "So it's only a part-time job then?" And true to form, you know, he made him work in the family business every evening and every weekend. That is a true story. Right across the world, this desire to grasp challenges and opportunities with both hands has propelled our community ahead. And I always celebrate the fact that Jinnah, Iqbal, and Chaudhry Rahmat Ali were all actually the equivalent of modern-day Pakistanis. The Pakistani community in Europe has a strong influence back in their homeland, and quite often they are entrenched with what is happening there. In my role as an MEP, it's an internationalist role, and I see this action at close quarters, but it is the United Kingdom, in my eyes, that has excelled in providing the best contextual mix to allow members of the British Pakistani community to excel in all fields, from the professions, from being innovators right the way across to arts and culture, and today, even now, in politics. And speaking as a Brit, it is only right that we see the future development of our nation through the foundations of our history. A history based upon the contributions of so many, sometimes in very distant lands, but always with a commitment to our shared values and identity. And just as Her Majesty the Queen started her Jubilee celebrations shrouded in the tremendous diversity of Leicester, it is essential that on the remembrance of the First World War, we follow Her Majesty's lead and remember all those who sacrificed so we could be free today. On the battlefields of Belgium, fighting under the British flag, despite his company being overrun and killed, a sole soldier fought gallantly, and despite serious injury, he manned his guns, delaying just enough the enemy to allow reinforcements to arrive and prevent a final breakthrough and the capture of vital positions. Such was his bravery that he was presented with the Victoria Cross. That soldier was Khudadad Khan. And he was from modern-day Pakistan. Far too many people in our nation are unaware of our own history. And it is this lack of awareness which is today creating many political challenges for us. Both Pakistan and the UK are open, outward-looking, ambitious nations with tremendous strengths and an ability to face challenges and succeed. But our core shared values is not success at any cost. Success with equity and principle is. Today, some of what I hear in British politics and political debate is not what British Pakistanis recognize as reflective of Britain. Political upstarts are able to hit headlines simply by making announcements to stop our international aid programs on a whim. The Britain that we as a community help to build does not turn its back on the poorest in this world on a whim. Our Britain is compassionate and we stand by our word. Our international relations and standing will always allow us to be a leading nation within the EU to strengthen relations with Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh. Our government's approach has allowed MEPs who lead friends groups to ensure that we have delivered vital trade deals, but we have always safeguarded human rights in doing so. Our most notable success actually came after 8 years of consistent hard work within the EU sphere, and it was without question our Prime Minister David Cameron who delivered his counterparts Angela Merkel and Francois Hollande, and along with the European Parliament and the government of Pakistan, we secured what seemed unachievable to many. But our vision for that GSP Plus program is now to move to the next business-to-business stage. We must concentrate on trade, not aid. Ladies and gentlemen, Baroness Sarah Ludford, who is present this evening, has always worked with me at an EU level to further our ambitions. Quite often, it strikes me as I sit in Parliament that only decades ago, our family of nations was destroying each other. And today we sit as one. And I ask myself, why can this not be the same for South Asia? And it is my aim to ensure that the World Congress of Overseas Pakistanis works to that end. We must understand that those who propagate disunity ultimately weaken us at home and abroad in all forums, whether it is the WTO, NATO, EU, or the United Nations. Our diversity is amongst our biggest strengths, and that is the platform upon which I certainly wish to build. A strong United Kingdom taking leadership in Europe and playing its part on the international stage, with a further strengthening of European British-Pakistani relations and the British-Pakistani community's contribution clear for all to see. I finish simply by congratulating the UK chapter on the success of tonight's event, and I thank our entire team for everything they have done, working in conjunction with my core chairman and also the chairman of the UK chapter. And as I said right at the beginning, I know how dangerous this situation has become for me. So I simply finish in true French style by wishing you all bon appétit. Thank you.